메릴스트립 and 앤해서웨이.
네, 두 분 반갑습니다. 웰컴. 네, 메릴이 저쪽 오른쪽이고요. 네, 네. 와우, 두 분 너무나 멋진 모습으로 함께했는데 먼저 인사를 좀 부탁드리겠습니다.
So
메릴스트립부터.
wonderful to have you both here. Would you go ahead and say hello to the Korean press? Meryl, would you like to go first?
안녕하세요.
Hi, everybody. It's so happy to see you.
아, 정말 안녕하세요를 메릴스트립이 해주셨는데, 자, 오늘 아마 악마는 프라다를 입는다 2에 대해서 기자님도 궁금증이 워낙 많으실 거란 생각이 들어서 이제 바로 내한 기자간담회를 시작할 텐데, 질문을 준비하는 동안에 제가 질문 하나만 먼저 드리도록 하겠습니다. 자, 내한을 기다려온 한국 팬들 정말 많고 그 기대감 오늘 기자님들만 봐도 아실 수 있을 텐데, 특히 메릴스트립 같은 경우는 이번이 한국 첫 공식 내한 방문이시고요. 그리고 앤해서웨이 님도 8년 만에 뵙게 됐는데요. 한국을 찾은 소감 메릴스트립부터 여쭙겠습니다.
So we are all incredibly excited to have you both here. Meryl, we know that this is your first time, your first official visit to Korea. And Anne, we know that you were here actually about 8 years ago. So we'd love to hear from you. How does it feel to be back and also for you to be here for the first time here in Korea? Starting with you, Meryl.
It was so exciting to fly in and to see the mountains. I'm unfamiliar with Seoul, and I've never been here. I've never been to Korea. I have flown over it and around the world, but I'm so grateful to be able to be here. I'm in the most beautiful hotel I've ever been in my life, and almost couldn't wake up because the bed was so comfortable. But thank you for this warm welcome. And we're here to promote a film we love very much. And so I'm happy that the first time I come here, it's with something that I'm proud of.
It's so exciting to be here, but I have to admit it's also bittersweet because being here is so special and I wish we were here for longer so I could do some of the things that I really want to do, like go to the Starlink Library, which has been on my bucket list for so long. So for me, it's such a gift to be here, but it feels close, but I can't quite get it. But maybe if we do a good job here, we'll have time and I can run out and do it. So I'm focusing on what I can do. I'm loving meeting people, and I'm trying to pick up as much as I can. And I'm trying to figure out how I can sneak away to eat the best food.
자, 두 분 모두 정말 한국을 사랑하는 마음이 느껴집니다. 자, 그러면 지금부터 악마는 프라다를 입는다 2 내한 기자간담회 본격적으로 시작하도록 하겠습니다. 작품에 대한 질문 그리고 캐릭터에 대한 궁금증 있으신 기자님들 손을 들어주시면, 네, 지금 중앙 왼쪽에 가장 먼저 들어주셨는데요. 마이크.
We're going to go ahead and get our journalists' questions because we know that there are so many questions burning out there. So we'll go ahead and take the first one.
네, 안녕하세요. 저는 문화일보 이민경 기자라고 합니다.
반갑습니다.
메릴과 앤 배우님 두 분 한국에서 만날 수 있게 돼서 너무 반갑습니다. 일단 두 분께 공통 질문을 드리고 싶은데, 일단 미란다는 패션 매거진 런웨이의 수장이고, 그리고 앤디는 피처 에디터니까요. 당신들이 생각하기에 한국이라는 나라를 떠올렸을 때 한국을 대표하는 명품은 무엇일까요? 패션 브랜드도 좋고 인물도 좋고 그 외에 어떤 것이라도 좋습니다.
오, 진짜 궁금한데요. 한국을 대표하는 명품은 무엇인지?
So this question goes to both of you, Meryl and Anne. And first of all, I have to say it's so wonderful to have you both here in Korea. So, you know, in the second film, Miranda is still, of course, running the fashion magazine Runway. And then Andy, you are a feature editor. So we would love to ask you, actually, when you think about our country, when you think of Korea, what would you say is the number one representative, or, you know, it could be a brand, it could be a person. What do you think is worthy of a feature article about Korea?
자, 앤부터 대답 들어볼까요?
Anne, any ideas?
Well, I think that right now Korea is such a dominant force, in particular in youth culture. I think that Korea is leading the way in so many areas, in particular music. And in particular, I think a lot of fashion, skincare. So I think those areas of interest that are very interesting to people. Of course, Korea is so much richer than those particular subjects, but if I was a features editor and I wanted to appeal to a lot of readers, I would probably focus on those incredible aspects of Korean culture.
음악과 뷰티에 대해서 이야기를 해주셨어요. 자, 그렇다면 우리 미란다, 여기 메릴은 어떨까요?
What about you, Meryl?
Well, I'm very interested in Korean barbecue because I live part of the time in Los Angeles, and we go to a place in Downey, which is near a hockey rink where my son used to play, and we have Korean barbecue, and I'm very into it. Yeah, I think if I were, I completely agree with everything you said about what comes to us in the press in the United States is youth culture. I have 6 grandchildren. They all know every word of K-pop Demon Hunters, all the songs. They're very influenced by K-culture right now. And that's exciting because it means that the world is connected and that we are in each other's lives in a way that you're in our children's lives in a way that I didn't grow up that connected to many parts of the world. And it's a good lesson that we are connected and we all depend on each other.
May I add one thing to that?
Yeah, sure.
I mean, we would be remiss if we didn't say that would be who we were if we were fashion editors, but considering that we're actresses, I think we would just want to come and interview so many directors. I think we would want to come and interview Director Park and Director Bong, and so I just had to mention that.
Yeah.
아, 지금 책이 한 권이 나온 느낌인데요. 이번 런웨이 한 뭐 4월 29일 개봉이니까 5월 호에는 지금 보니까 K 뮤직, K-팝, 그리고 K-뷰티, K-푸드까지, 그리고 K-무비까지 함께하는 것 같습니다. 예. 자, 그리고 또 질문 있으신 기자님, 네, 마이크가 지금 어디에 가 있을까요? 저 오른쪽 뒤쪽입니다.
네, 안녕하세요. 저는 무비스트 박은영 기자고요.
안녕하세요. 네.
예, 두 분께 질문 드리겠는데 일단 그 20년의 세월을 정말 무색하게 만드는 두 분의 모습이 너무 아름다우시고요.
맞아요.
예. 제가 궁금한 거는 정말 이 후속편을 많이 기다렸던 작품인데 이제 후속편이 나오기까지 시간이 많이 걸렸는데 26년이라서 가능한 이야기가 어떤 이야기일지 그게 좀 궁금하고요. 또 이 작품이 두 분께 어떤 의미로 남았을지 간단하게 말씀 부탁드리겠습니다.
네, 2026년이라 가능한 이야기는 무엇이고 이 작품이 두 분에게 어떤 의미인지 궁금합니다.
I have 2 questions, and they are again for the both of you. So it's been 20 years since the first film came out, and it's wonderful to see just how incredibly beautiful you both women are. And it doesn't feel like, it's a day has passed since the first film. So many of us have been eagerly waiting for the second story, and it took quite a long time. My first question is, are there any particular elements about the story in the second film that is only possible to tell because it's 2026? And then the second question is, what does The Devil Wears Prada mean to the both of you?
네, 메릴스트립부터 대답 부탁드릴까요?
Meryl, would you like to go first?
Well, the film we made in 2006, I think, it came out the year before the iPhone. There were no iPhones. I mean, that thing that you all have in your pockets and or whatever brand you carry has changed everything. It's changed everything in publishing. It's changed everything in our business. And so our business has become atomized, and we're all sort of in a shifting landscape of how to maintain the financial world in the face of these challenges. Certainly that's where this film comes in. We begin 20 years after that in that changing media landscape where Miranda is challenged by how to keep her business afloat. And Andrea, you talk about you, but I'll talk about her for her. And she is coming from at the end of the last film, she throws her phone in the throws it in the fountain, and she goes off to work in legitimate journalism, investigative journalism. I won't say legitimate, investigative journalism, journalism that has higher stakes than maybe just the fashion world. So she comes back in this one with those same challenges that Miranda is fielding, and so they are sort of in the same boat.
I think, first of all, I agree with everything that Meryl just said, and you can't overestimate the effect the digital revolution has had on all aspects of our lives, but in particular when it comes to journalism and fashion journalism. Looking at it from a character point of view, you know, Andy Sachs is 22 in the first film. She's just graduated from college, so she is full of ideas, but a little light on life experience. And in this film, she's had 20 years to go out and live the life that she's wanted to live to the best of her ability. And so I think that she's acquired skills, she's acquired a point of view, she's acquired experience, I think a fair bit of humility, but also confidence. And so I think that in order for her to walk through the door as a formidable potential partner for Miranda, it would have taken that amount of time for it to feel legitimate.
자, 그리고 두 분이 워낙 필모가 다양하지만 이 작품 악마는 프라다를 입는다가 두 분에게 어떤 의미인지도 메릴스트립부터.
And Meryl, could we also ask the second part of the question, what does this film mean to you? I mean, obviously you both have such a long and very prosperous career, but is there a particular meaning that this film has for the both of you?
The first film took me by surprise. I always knew that it would be very popular with women and girls, but its larger success with a bigger audience completely shocked me. This is the first film that I ever was in 50 years or whatever, how many years I've been in this, where men came and said, "I know how you felt." And they said that about my character, that they felt me, they felt the same way. And I think that's because she was in a position, Miranda is in a position of responsibility and at the top of a corporation, and it's something that touched them. And so that contributed to the success. So that was very meaningful to me. Yeah.
그렇죠. 남녀노소 모두에게 사랑받았죠. 앤한테도 들어볼까요?
The Devil Wears Prada gave me so much. I mean, I was 22 playing a 22-year-old. She had an incredibly powerful boss, and I got to be a baby actress acting alongside the greatest actress of all time. So to be able to have that kind of an experience shape me to just be a fly on the wall in those scenes, to be influenced by Meryl's extraordinary talent and her even more remarkable humanity. It's kind of hard to overstate the impact it had on me. And then the film came out, and it became one of the most remarkable gifts of my life. You know, it's a very vulnerable thing to be an actor, to be a young actor. You don't know how your career is going to go. This film opened so many doors for me, and it gave me so many opportunities. And because it became this kind of anchor in my understanding of how audiences responded to me, it, funny enough, let me take a lot more risks and make a lot of really weird choices, which is a space where I'm really happy because I knew that I kind of had this warm hug to come back to, at least in this type of film. So yes, it also gave me a really great haircut. So it's a layered thing.
두 분에게 너무나 큰 의미가 있는 작품이네요. 자, 이번 2에서도 헤어스타일 기대를 해보면서 자, 또 질문 있으신 기자님. 네, 저 중앙에서 살짝 오른쪽 뒤쪽입니다. 안녕하세요.
네, 안녕하세요. 한경닷컴 김소연 기자입니다.
반갑습니다.
네, 저 여기 있습니다.
네, 저기
네,
계세요.
근데 제가 처음 이 영화를 보면서 저런 기자가 되고 싶다. 아 그렇게 그리고 저렇게 남자한테 휘둘리는 삶을 살면 안 되겠다라는 생각을 했던 것 같아요. 근데 이게 사실 그 직업권에 대해서 굉장히 디테일하게 다루는 것도 재미난 요소였지만 여성의 주체적인 삶을 다룬다는 점에서 또 굉장히 큰 반향을 일으켰던 작품인데 이게 20년 만에 돌아오면서 이 어떤 메시지를 줄 수 있을지 배우님들도 굉장히 고민이 많으셨을 것 같아요. 어떤 메시지를 이렇게 담아서 연기를 하셨는지 궁금합니다.
네, 맞아요. 정말 주체적 삶을 느꼈는데 어떤 메시지 고민하셨는지?
So I remember as a younger woman when I was watched the first film, I not only thought and looked at Andy and thought, I want to be a journalist like that, but also I think it taught me never let men dictate the choices you make in life as well. And so I feel like, not only was it an incredibly entertaining movie that really dives into the world of professionalism for women, but I think it was really iconic in the sense that it showed us very driven women who wanted to and decided to take initiative of their own lives. And so after 2 decades have passed since then, I'm sure the both of you thought a lot about what kind of message can we convey this time around. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
앤부터 한번 들어볼까요?
I'm so cool you followed your dream, and congratulations on being a journalist. I agree with you. I think that the world is changing. I think there's a lot more freedom available. It's not easy. You got to fight for it. You got to work for it. And I think that economic freedom is something that I really wish for every type of person, especially people that have historically been denied access to it. In terms of how it manifests itself in this film, Andy Sachs has paid for every bill that's come her way her entire adult life. I think that her attitude about all that stuff is, if the right person comes along, wouldn't that be fun? But I'm the right person for me, so I'm going to have a great time regardless.
네, 지금 뭐 환호가 나오고 있어요. 메릴스트립에게도 메시지에 대한 이야기를 들어볼까요?
Meryl, how about you? Some of the messages that you thought of wanting to convey with the second film?
I don't want to be in any way disrespectful of the question, because I respect your interest in that idea, but I am so loath to put out the idea like a chyron at the bottom of the television screen that says, this is the message of the movie.
Of The Devil Wears Prada 2.
Of The Devil Wears Prada 2. I think that everyone will take their own message from it. And I do recognize that young women especially took some courage from Andy's story in the first film. But I think, there was in the first film the idea that a woman can be a really mean boss too, that it's not gendered, and I'm less interested in making a statement about what the film is about, but to say, come to it looking for fun, looking for the underpinnings of some very serious issues that we are confronting today, but also just to take from it what you want. Everybody in the family will have a different idea about it, but I think it's something that people will, just as with the first one, watch for years, because it's great.
And just thinking about something you said earlier in the conversation, I think it's really wonderful that the first film created a response for you, a message for you that you should pursue your dreams and go out and build a life for yourself. But you were saying that men were also coming up to you saying, oh my gosh, I felt like finally a character where I understood the stakes, the responsibility on her was so enormous. So those are two very different perspectives on the same film. So I think that's wonderful, and maybe the film can take all of those perspectives, and maybe you'll tell us what the message is.
맞아요. 다양한 메시지와 재미를 주기 위해서 또 고민이 많으셨으리라 믿습니다. 또 질문 있으시겠는데 저 먼저 들어주셔서 기자님 죄송합니다. 왼쪽 뒤쪽으로 가봅니다. 안녕하세요.
네, 안녕하세요. 저 스포츠 경영 학교원이라고 하고요.
반갑습니다.
저는 메릴스트립 배우께 질문 하나 드리고 두 분께 공통 질문도 하나 드리도록 하겠습니다. 일단 그 미란다 캐릭터를 보면 그 애니나 그 다른 에밀리의 경우에는 처지가 많이 변했는데 편집장을 20년을 하고 계시더라고요. 그래서 일반적으로 한국 기자들의 통념상으로는 이렇게 승진이 안 되신 건가라는 생각도 개인적으로 좀 들었는데 이게 이런 건 너무 잘했거나 아니면 또 약간 좀 뭐 주변의 영향이 있거나 뭐 이런 것 같은데요. 1편에서는 그런 부분뿐만 아니라 아이코닉한 그런 또 언론인으로서의 모습을 많이 보이셨는데 그 뭐 인간적인 모습이라든지 아니면 카리스마 같은 게 있어서 2편에 또 새로운 좀 미란다의 어떤 부분이 나올 수 있을까 좀 궁금하기도 한데 워낙 1편에서 보여주신 게 많기 때문에 좀 어떤 캐릭터의 차별성을 위해서 좀 애를 쓰셨는지 그 부분이 좀 궁금하고요. 그리고 두 분께는 보통 이제 2편이 20년 텀으로 나오기가 굉장히 좀 쉽지 않은 상황인데 좀 촬영을 하시면서 아 20년의 세월이 참 너무 아깝다. 훨씬 더 좀 빨리 만났으면 어땠을까 이렇게 좀 아쉬웠던 그만큼 이제 좋았기 때문에 생기는 감정이 없었을까 이런 생각이 좀 드는데 그런 데 대한 질문을 좀 드리겠습니다.
네, 기자님 고맙습니다.
So my first question is to you, Meryl, and then I have my second question that goes to the both of you. So the first question is, Meryl, if when we look at the character Miranda, it's a different story for Emily, of course, but for Miranda, it seems to be that she was the editor-in-chief for 20 years. So as a journalist, especially here in Korea, I cannot but wonder, wait, didn't she not get promoted at all during the past 2 decades? And so, you know, with Miranda, we get to see so many iconic sides of her and also a lot of vulnerability in the first film. We get to get a peek at the journalism world too. So we are wondering, you know, what more about Miranda can we look forward to? You know, is there anything new about her that we will get to see in the second film? And then the second question for the both of you, you know, it's not easy to create a sequel to a film after 20 years, right? So during production, while you were filming, were there any particular moments you thought to yourself, oh, we waited too long, we should have done this sooner?
자, 먼저 메릴스트립 대답 들어볼까요?
Thank you for that nuanced question. Yeah, I think you may have missed the plot. Miranda does have a boss. Everybody serves somebody, and she was the boss of her fiefdom, but in the 20 years. The world becomes global, and maybe she has a larger ambition. So you'll see her contend with that, I think. She has the same boss, the same man, the same actor comes back and plays the owner of the publishing house. And but yes, you'll see her navigate this confusing and exciting expansion of the influence of the runway fashion world. And the second question, was there anything that we came to in the second shooting that we thought, why didn't we do this sooner? No, because I think this script meets this moment exactly. It's exactly right. And we had to wait 20 years, honestly, to be unmoored in the same way we are at the beginning of this film. So, yeah.
I had thought a couple times, like, I wish that we'd just gotten together more because this is such a fun group. And now that I'm here, I'm realizing we just should have had a standing Korean barbecue date. And that would have been amazing.
Yeah.
But you can't, we'll do that going forward.
두 분 왠지 한국 바베큐 드시면서 K-팝을 듣는 그리고 마스크팩을 한국 거를 붙인 그게 상상이 되는데요.
We can definitely imagine the two of you having Korean barbecue, listening to K-pop, and maybe do a little face mask.
I need that, actually.
자, 또 질문 있으신 기자님 중앙 쪽으로 가봅니다. 마이크가 지금 받으셨나요? 중앙 뒤쪽인가요? 네, 안녕하세요.
네, 안녕하세요. 더 스크린의 박혜은입니다.
반갑습니다. 네.
20년 전에 미란다가 앤에게 넌 나와 닮았다라고 했고 앤은 미란다를 떠나는 것으로 그 답을 했었는데요. 이 편에서 다시 만난 두 사람에게 이 서로 닮았다라는 대사는 어떤 의미로 다가오는지 궁금합니다. 그리고 2026년 현재 일하는 여성들에게 또 두 캐릭터는 어떤 롤모델이 되어주실지도 굉장히 궁금합니다.
20 years ago in the first film, Miranda says to Andy, "I see myself in you," right? And then Andy, of course, as we know, decides to leave. And so, what did that line mean back then? And what do you think, being, Miranda seeing herself in Andy, what do you think that means in this film as well? And I'd also love to know, with the 2026 film, the previous one has been you have been great role models for a lot of working women. What kind of role models do you think these two characters could be in the second film?
자, 넌 날 닮았다. 어떤 의미인지 먼저 메릴 스트립이 대답 부탁드릴까요?
Meryl, would you like to take the first question?
Yes, okay. When she says, "I see myself in you," I think that she sees a certain relentlessness, which is necessary in many, many walks of life. And I think that that's something she admires in people, the ability and the desire to do their best, to work hard, to fulfill a task, and to see beyond it. And I think she senses that Andrea has a larger ambition.
And Anne, would you like to tell us about, what kind of role models do you think these two women will play with the second film?
Oh my gosh! Again, it falls a little bit under the same banner of, the film having a message, because I think that the film would have been different if we felt like we were playing role models. I think that our focus was to try to play characters and try to play people honestly. And hopefully by reflecting that authenticity and that honesty, people will see themselves in it. We see these characters in difficult moments. We see them handle them gracefully. We see them handle them badly. We see them handle them kindly. And their character is defined by their reaction. It's so hard to talk about. Like, I want to give you an example, but then I'll give away a plot point, and I can't do that because Disney will be mad at me. One of the things I'll say about Andy is I think that she is really committed to being empowered with kindness. I think that she wants to bring a really loving energy into the office. She loves what she does. And I think she wants to be supportive of anybody coming up underneath her, anybody that's helping her. Which I think that it's very cool to see somebody who's really effective at their job, but also really gracious and gentle.
And I can speak for Miranda that I do think that there's something in this one that's unusual, because you don't see many 70, almost 7-year-old women playing parts like this in any movie or under any circumstance. So I'm happy to represent, and to, because my God, I just did this a Vogue cover with Anna Wintour, who's such a great sport.
Yeah, we saw it.
She's, oh, you saw it.
It's so good.
Okay.
So beautiful.
And she's 76. We're the same age. It was shot by Annie Leibovitz, who is also 76. 76 trombones led the big parade. And, I think it gives, often women over 50, I'd say, disappear into the woodwork, and they're not, their interests and opinions are less valued in the culture. And so it's fun to see this person who is credibly placed in the world and having that influence.
정말 원더풀 메릴이네요. 네. 자, 죄송합니다, 기자님들. 시간 관계상 마지막 질문을 받아야 될 것 같은데 중앙 쪽으로 마이크 전달하겠습니다. 자.
네, 안녕하세요. 저 파이낸셜 투데이 김영재 기자라고 합니다.
안녕하세요.
안녕하세요. 저 두 분께 공통 질문 드리고 싶고 메릴스트립 분께는 하나 더 뭔가 특별히 하나 더 드리고 싶습니다.
네.
두 분 20년 만에 다시 만나셨는데 서로 간 연기 호흡 어땠는지 궁금하거든요. 그리고 메릴스트립께는 이제 고트라는 별명이 있으시잖아요. 좀 고트로서 이제 봤을 때 앤해서웨이가 20년 전과 비교해 달라졌다고 느낀 점 말씀 부탁드립니다.
I have two questions. The first one goes to the both of you, and then I have one more question for Meryl. So the question for the both of you is, you are back on screen after 20 years. Can you tell us what your acting chemistry is like between the two of you? And then one more question to Meryl is, globally you are known as the GOAT, of course. So as the greatest of all time, we'd love to hear, in your perspective, how has Anne changed over the past 20 years as an actor?
자, 연기 호흡에 대해서 앤해서웨이부터 들어볼까요?
Anne, you want to tell us about your chemistry together?
One of
Never mind.
와우!
There it is. There's the chemistry. No, go ahead.
Are you sure? So one of the things I remember from the first film, just being struck by, was so much of Meryl's power comes from how deep a listener she is. And I think that especially when you're a young actor, so much of your acting can feel presentational, like you just really want to do a good job. But I got to see Meryl just act from such a deep place inside of her. I could see her brain working. And I thought, oh, that's what it is. And so I think our chemistry is just her being great and me being in awe. And it just kind of works out.
I think our chemistry was different in the first one because we didn't know each other, and I tend to come into the set on the first week like it's a party and I'm ready to have fun because I love the hang, and I did that for a couple days and then I realized it was not valuable and I sort of had to pull back and stay in my trailer while they all had fun with each other. And so I was kind of miserable on the first. It's my own fault. It was a decision. But this time I just really, I loved reigniting the energy between us. And I loved meeting you as a full-blown woman, not a young girl on the cusp of, it's been just a great pleasure. It was a pleasure. It was great seeing Emily Blunt again, and the fabulous, Stanley Tucci, I can't get rid of him. He's in my life forever. We'd made a couple of films together anyway. But it was wonderful, the chemistry. And the second question.
가장 달라진 점,
What
성장된
has
점.
changed in your perspective about Anne in the past 20 years?
That's the thing that's sort of embedded in what I'm saying. She really hasn't changed. The essence of you. And because we're on a press tour, and I am saying this over and over, doesn't mean I don't mean it. You're so fresh and immediate, and you meet the moment open-hearted, and that's all you ask from a partner, an acting partner and a friend.
좀 더 있으면 크라이한 분위기인데. 자, 좋습니다. 정말 다양하고 좋은 질문 해주신 기자님들께 진심으로 감사의 말씀 드리겠습니다. 기자간담회가 이제 마무리할 시간인데요. 마무리하기 앞서서 우리 배우분들에게 두 분께 아주 특별한 선물 증정식이 있겠습니다.
So first of all, thank you everyone for your wonderful questions. And before we wrap today, we actually have a very special gift for the both of you.
네, 자 지금 바로 전달식을 가져볼까 하는데요. 두 배우분은 마이크를 의자 위에 올려주시고 잠깐만 일어나 주실 수
If you would
있을까요?
like to stand up and put your mics you can leave your mics in your chairs. We're going to bring out the gifts for you.
자, 선물이 등장을 하고 있습니다. 자, 과연 어떤 선물일지 공개합니다.
Open it now.
준비된 선물은 악마는 프라다를 입는다 2를 상징하는 붉은 하일에 한국의 전통 신발에 꽃신을 더해서 재해석한 세상에 단 하나뿐인 구두입니다.
So these shoes are a reinterpretation of the iconic red heel in the traditional Korean 꽃신 style, which means flower shoes.
자,
These are the only two pairs in the world.
앞쪽을 한번 봐주시겠어요?
Can you go ahead and look at the center of the room? The camera's at the center.
와우, 네, 인사를 하고 계십니다. 너무 아름답죠? 와우. 왼쪽
Maybe
네.
the left side. Cameras on the left, please. Cameras
you.
on the left.
그리고 오른쪽도 한 번만.
Thank you.
메릴스트립.
And can we get the cameras on the right as well? Right side? Thank you.
자, 그러면 이제 꽃씨는 의자 위에 올려주시고요.
All right, thank you. You can leave the shoes on your chairs and we'll bring them back later.
마이크를. It's yours. 네. 자, 마이크를 들고 소감을 한번 여쭤볼까요?
Before we leave the stage, could we just ask you to have your mics one more time to say your final goodbyes to the press today?
어떠세요? 마음에 드세요?
Also tell us, how do you like the shoes?
Oh, they're astonishing. I hope they fit. I always like a little height, you know. There you go.
어,
Thank you. It's so beautiful and so thoughtful and so exquisitely made, like everything in this country. My God. Incredible. Thank you.
앤?
I'm speechless. They're so beautiful. The craft work that went into them, they're so delicate, but they're also so fun. And I really think that you've given me a treasure with these, and I'm so excited to bring them with me, and that I'll be able to be home in my life, and I'll look at them and I'll remember this incredibly special experience. Thank you for this wonderful, thoughtful, generous, exquisite gift.
마음에 들어하셔서 너무 좋고 이제 마지막으로 오늘 와주신 분들께 마지막 인사를 좀 부탁드립니다.
We're so happy that you love them. And before we leave, can you say just short goodbye to the Korean press? Can we begin with you, Meryl?
메릴스트립부터? 네.
Yes. Goodbye. We're just starting the day, I thought. My God. I'll see you all later, I hope. Thank you very much for this warm welcome. And hello to everybody in Korea. We're so glad to be here. Thank you.
앤?
To the press, I just want to say thank you so much for your really, really thoughtful questions. It was so lovely to hear about the impact the film has had on you and your life and your dreams. To the event organizers, I just want to say thank you so much. This is an exquisite stage, and thank you so much for the good lighting. And then to the Korean people, I just want to say what an honor and a pleasure it is to be back here. And thank you so much for welcoming us.
와우. 여러분, 미란다와 앤디, 메릴스트립과 앤해서웨이였습니다.
Thank you, everyone. Please give it up for Meryl and Anne. Thank you so much for joining us. You can leave them.
Thank you. 감사합니다. 네, 오셨던 곳으로 퇴장 부탁드립니다. Thank you. 네, 두 분 감사하고요. 통역을 해주신 정현영 통역사 감사합니다. 네.